the Pharaoh that lives within, breaking the chains of invisible bondage. When we study Egypt in Scripture, we must understand it was more than a nation. It was a system, a mindset, a spirit that sought to rule, to enslave, to control, and to redefine the people of God. Egypt built its strength on brick and mortar, yes, but also on identity. Pharaoh's first attack was not the whip, it was the renaming, the shifting of worth, the slow erosion of value. The Israelites became a workforce rather than a people, property instead of promise. And is this not how bondage still begins today? Not with chains we can see, but with lies we learn to believe. You'll never be enough. This is just the way life is. No one cares. Hope is for other people. The enemy still whispers in the shadows of the mind, the way Pharaoh spoke from the throne. Stay in your place. Keep producing. You are what you can make. You are what others demand of you. But Scripture tells us, who the Son sets free is free indeed. Let us travel back to the banks of the Nile, where a basket made of reeds carried not just a child, but the future. Moses was born into a death order, yet preserved by divine sovereignty. Raised in Pharaoh's house, yet never belonging to Pharaoh's system. God sent Moses not only to confront a ruler, but to confront a spirit that stands against liberation. Plagues fell, not randomly, but strategically. Each plague dismantled a god of Egypt. The Nile, worshipped, turned to blood. The sun, adored, was darkened. The cattle, sacred, died. The gods of fertility, fields, medicine, storms, life, and death. God dismantled them one by one, not out of vengeance, but revelation. Egypt had power, but God was authority. And here is the spiritual truth. The plagues God releases in our lives are not punishment. They are demolition undertakings, destroying the gods we didn't realize we had bowed to. Security, reputation, comfort, approval, self-reliance. Sometimes God must plague what binds us, so he can free what belongs to him. Pharaoh hardened his heart again and again. The greatest hardness is not immorality, but unteachability, a spirit that sees the works of God and still declares, I will not yield. But in the quiet chambers of our faith, we must ask, where does Pharaoh still sit on the throne in me? Where do I refuse surrender? Where do I negotiate with God, the way Pharaoh negotiated with Moses? I will obey, but only in part. Halfway obedience is still captivity with religious decor. Freedom doesn't begin when chains fall. Freedom begins when lordship shifts. Moses didn't say, let my people go so they can be free. He said, let my people go so they may worship. Because you will serve something, but only one master leads to life. God led Israel out, not by the quickest route, but by the wilderness. Why? Because God doesn't only lead us out of Egypt, he must lead Egypt out of us. The desert wasn't punishment, it was detox. The wilderness was where God replaced dependence on Pharaoh with dependence on his presence, manna, instead of rations, cloud, instead of schedule, fire, instead of fear, covenant instead of captivity. And today, God still delivers the same way, step by step, lesson by lesson, teaching us that freedom is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of God in the struggle. So hear the call again, across centuries, kingdoms, governments, and empires. Let my people go. Let go of fear. Let go of unforgiveness. Let go of the need to control outcomes. Let go of identities shaped by wounds rather than promises. Let go of the Egypt that lives in your thinking, and step into the destiny that lives in God's heart. For there is still a Red Sea waiting to part. There is still a cloud to guide. there is still a promised land ahead. And the same God who confronted Pharaoh now speaks to bondage in every generation, including ours. The Pharaoh you face may be invisible, but so is your God, and he is greater still.